Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Perfect Acceleration Sim Racing, and welcome to Season 3 of the Junior Saloon Car Championship official eSeries. Myself, Jack Werrell, and Zach Sweeney joins me in the commentary box this evening. Tom O'Farrell, of course, our brilliant broadcast director from 2F Media Productions. Mick Sutton, the man behind it all at PASR. And we've got Jordan Taylor in the safety car this evening. What a way to kick off a new season. The perfect place to do it as well. Zach, you're joining me for the full season. Going off what we've seen not only last season, but the inaugural season as well, we're in for a treat.
Oh yeah, we definitely are. I always love junior championships because we really get to see sort of the younger drivers show what they're capable of. There, of course, you can see the fantastic calendar that we'll be taken to. Of course, we start this season and end the season here at Brands Hatch Indy, a short circuit and a fast circuit as well in these Saxos.
Yes, absolutely. The one I'm looking forward to is round 2, Cadwell Park, famed for being incredibly close quarters. It's not the widest circuit in the world, stacks of elevation change. That's going to be a good one on the 12th of December. We then go into the final round before the Christmas break at Castle Combe, very quick circuit, followed up by a quick circuit into the new year at Thruxton. Then we go to Snetterton, the 300 layout, Anglesey on the coastal circuit on the 16th of January, the penultimate round at Alton Park on the island layout, and then, like you say, we round it all out on the 30th of January. In just under 2 months' time, back here at Brands Hatch on the Indy layout. So plenty to look forward to. Going off what we've seen already, it's going to be a tight championship, and they are fighting over prizes. If you are the champion come the end of the championship, you will win free entry into the Junior Saloon Car Championship Scholarship, which is a fully funded drive for the 2025 season in the Junior Saloon Car Championship. So there is a real drive at stake, potentially, if you can make it through that scholarship. If you are the vice champion, you win yourself a pair of Simagic P500 pedals. And if you finish third, well, you can take yourself away for the weekend, can't you? Go and watch some more real racing. You win yourself 2 British Touring Car Championship tickets. If you attend every single race, you win yourself a Perfect Acceleration Sim Racing cap. And Driver of the Round, which is voted every round, and you cannot win it twice. You win yourself a pair of 3M UK Sim Racing gloves. And what I'm loving here, Zach, is esports over time has been building up more and more of a pedigree, but even more so now, sim racing is a very real stepping stone into a real life racing career.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we saw, well, just a couple of months ago with the Ginetta Junior official eSeries as well that we hosted here on PASR. Gabriel Norse took to the real life track to try and win his 2025 campaign. Logan McAllister, I think, went with him as well. Will Clark was there. We had so many young drivers take to it and so many success stories as well. It's not just the case that the offer is there, it's that when people succeed, they go on to do well. I think Deegan Fairclough straight away this season in British F4 with that record-breaking championship, of course, got his drive from sim racing. It is now becoming a real serious feeder series that these young drivers are using to its full potential and getting the most out of.
Yeah, absolutely. It's brilliant to see, and there's just more and more ways into it, and it is developing a very, very high pedigree of drivers, and I don't think it's ever been closer. Qualifying has already got underway. We've already had the first few times posted as well. At the moment, it's Albert Henriksen Bell at the top of the time, 64 thousandths clear of Levine Kishore, 59.235 the time to beat, but plenty of drivers still yet to post those representative times. A few still to post their first times as well. The good thing is here at Brands Hatch, if you do make a small mistake, it's only a short lap. You haven't got sort of 2 or 3 minutes to get back round and have another stab at it. You've got max a minute, and then you can go out and try it again. And we will see varying sort of strategies in qualifying as well, because aerodynamic assistance can really help you around here, but sometimes you find you're struggling to almost get there, so you've got to make sure you're close enough to get some sort of assistance, but not too close to then hinder that time.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really difficult balance that of course, these young drivers, they've not got a lot of experience. Right now is a really, really good time to start learning it, and you can see this pack that we've got. And typically what you want to do, as James Robert, try that in the race, that'll go quite well actually, and work around the inside of Druids, but you sort of learn who you're close to and you work with them. And of course, because it's a shorter lap, you get that sheer volume. I mean, we saw people, 300, 400, 1,200 laps in practice here at Brands Indy over the course of the last couple of days. So they know their way around, but you pair yourself up, you know who you're close to. And then because you've got so much volume in the laps, you can take a couple of turns swapping it around and try and get the most out of it. Because with this circuit and how quick it is, not a tremendous amount of braking zones, not a lot of time where you're having to really slow the car down and get on the anchors. So track position is going to be very, very important, and thus qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where having friends in the paddock can really help. It's a massively friendly paddock, an incredibly sociable paddock, as well as the Junior Saloon Car Championship official eSeries and the actual championship as well. So all of these drivers are all very friendly and very respectful of each other. But what you do find as well is some of them may just start sending a few direct messages at the start of the night, sort of going, we know we're on similar pace, let's weaponize that, let's work together, let's really start to pull away is what you can do in the race. In qualifying, like you say, those minor margins can really help. Levine Kishore has found more than a minor margin. He's almost a quarter of a second clear at the top of the times now, 59.009. So he's really not far away from a 58-second marker, and that's kind of where you want to be looking. And whilst there's not going to be masses of track evolution, that little bit of fuel that you are burning away throughout the session, I reckon we're going to be into those mid-58s come 7 minutes time.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it is just a case of hooking the lap up and just nailing it in such a tiny way. The smallest of things can make such a big difference, especially in cars like this. You unlock just the smallest, you sort of learn the tiniest lesson. And it's like, oh, hang on, I've just gained, half a tenth through this corner. And that's when you can really make some good gains. Like that, the difference there, tiny variation in line, two very different consequences. Nathan Williams, of course, not yet put in a representative qualifying lap, but is our current PASR Pro Sim Rig Super Touring Championship leader at the young old age that he is. He's going to be one of the favourites, as is Gabriel Norse, our Ginetta Junior Official eSeries champion of 2024. Look out then for Nathan Williams in his lap times. However, we've been banging on about the importance of slipstream. He's got no one.
No, he doesn't at all. Nathan Williams, who very good shout there, of course, vice champion of season 2 of the Junior Saloon Car Championship eSeries. So he's got a lot to play for here. He's got a lot to prove, because both him and Kyle Felbus, sparring partners all season long. So Kyle Felbus isn't here no more. What can Nathan Williams do? He's not quite good enough for pole. Levine Kishore has managed to take that away from him for the moment, provisionally, of course. And obviously, you made a very good shout with Gabriel Norse. I think that's a very good shout. Levine Kishore, he's been around. It seems like forever. In my head, Levine should be sort of mid-20s, 30s now. But he's still very, very tender in age, but very quick as well. He's got stacks of experience. And I think if this season he strings it all together, he's going to be on for a very good result.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And of course, the thing is that it's quite a long championship. I mean, we've got 8 rounds, 2 races, 16 races this season into early 2025. It's a long time to be consistent, and that is exactly the type of championship where experience is going to win overall. I mean, it's not good enough just to be quick. You've got to have that experience and that mindset and that consistency to take it all the way to the end. Nathan Williams seems to be on a pretty decent lap here, purple to the first sector by a decent margin. Can he take provisional pole with just under 5 minutes left to go? Yes, he can. Well into the 58s and a tenth and a half clear of Kishore.
Yeah, I think that's the key word, really, isn't it? Consistency, because that is exactly what you need throughout a season like this. If you have a couple of bad rounds, try and make up for them in those following races. And obviously, with it being a reverse grid, if you're going to have a bad race, make sure it's the first one, because then you can start towards the front and make up for it almost immediately, 20 minutes later, with 2 20-minute races on the way. So there's so many different aspects of this. There's so many different ways we would attack it. The drivers may have their own varying plans as well. If you're consistently inside that top 10, that top 6, even if you're consistently on the podium, but then you have a couple of bad rounds, that isn't to say that you're going to stay at the top. You can find yourself shuffling down the order. That is just the nature of junior racing and one make racing as well. And that's where you really see incredibly tight championships, especially here with perfect acceleration sim racing. At the moment, as you say, Nathan Williams at the top of the times on a 58.883. Levine Kishore's 59's 59 and some change remains where it is. Charlie Devlin at the moment is the first driver on the second row of the grid, 59.101. Not far away at all, only 53 thousandths back from there is Albert Henriksen Bell. 63 thousandths you get to James Roberts, 33 thousandths you get to Will Clark. The nature of the circuit and the nature of the cars just makes this so tantalisingly close. So this is just qualifying, let alone the race where they all start from the same point.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to race 1 and of course subsequently race 2, because we're going to have those that finish higher up in race 2. Complete reverse grid as Gabriel Norse puts himself onto the second row of the grid with provisional P3. But looking forward to those that finish well in race 1, starting at the back in race 2, because it's a full reverse, like I said, climbing their way through, or at the very least attempting to. Hopefully going to bring a lot of excitement along the way as well. Of course, that's the problem with the importance of slipstream, is that you get quite a lot of gaggles and packs of drivers that cause a little bit of a mishap. That's getting quite messy. Lucas Blanford and another driver spinning through Druids. And that's the risk that you've got to take. Fortunately, though, we're not at Spa, so you don't have to wait an eternity to make your way back round and start again. However, we are towards the tail end of qualifying, just 2.5 minutes left to go. Last couple of laps, and this is really where it needs to count, considering how close it's been all session long.
Yeah, you made a good shout though there. If we can get a race on the continent, whether it be at Spa, I'd love to see them at Nordschleife. Just to, 2 laps would be enough for a 20-minute race. Yeah, absolutely, it'd be great for Gabriel Norse. He's up on this lap. Is he going to be up in the second sector? No, so he's not going to improve that time over the line. He's got, what, 2, maybe 3 laps still to go, but we saw Ben Mattis with a very, very sideways moment. Got it collected up with armfuls of opposite lock. And I suppose that is the joy of a front-wheel drive car. If you do get a bit of a knock in the rear or indeed in the front that unsettles the car, you point the wheels where you want to go, put your foot to the floor. And that has proven to produce some very talented drivers. And the car control is always through the roof, as you always see in the Junior Saloon Car Championship, having covered that previous. William Johnson now diving on the brakes up the inside and running towards Graham Hill Bend, and he needs to find a bit of time. At the moment he's 3/4 of a second away from provisional pole, but it's from him forward up to sort of everybody else. You drill down and there's not massive margins. You could find yourself, what, 3/4 tenths of a second and jump so far up the order. It is those minor margins that you spoke about earlier.
Yeah, it is, and just think into the race, not everyone has had a perfect lap with slipstream in qualifying. So translate that into the race where everyone has got slipstream. You've got the pack racing dynamic. Qualifying is one thing, racing is a completely different animal in of itself, and that's really then when you start to see who's switched on, who's good at just getting a decent lap in qualifying, and who's able to deal with the absolute melee that is going to be turn 1 here at Brands Hatch, and then subsequently the entire race beyond that, because consistency, racecraft and decision making are going to be the ones that make the difference. Pace, typically in cars like this, with slipstream as important as it is in a circuit like this, isn't the be-all and end-all. You can make up being 2 or 3 tenths off the pace quite simply.
Yeah, you can. Well, you make it sound easy, but it's when
just
the
just
cars...
drive better, mate. It's simple.
Yeah, just drive faster.
Get good.
With these cars being so equally matched, it is those minor margins. It's making sure you are in the right gear and you're turning at the right point and you really do hit your marks. We've now only got 25 seconds running on this session. Good improvement over the line last time through from Will Clark, so he jumps up the order to 8th place. Lucas Blanford at the moment, he's up 3 tenths in Sector 1. Can he manage that through Sector 2? He only needs, what, half a second to get onto pole position. An improvement, I think, but not good enough for a positional change. That's put him 19 thousandths away from Will Clark, who is on exactly the same lap time as James Roberts, but James Roberts obviously set it earlier on in the session. The checkered flag is out. Nathan Williams coming through the final corner, 75 thousandths of a second away, and he's realised he isn't going to improve on this lap. Into the pit lane he will come, and everybody else will follow suit. Levine Kishaw, he's not up on this lap, but he is giving a slipstream to a couple of cars behind. What can Levine do? Has he made up for a poor Sector 1 in Sector 2? Breaks the beam? No, not enough for him, and everybody else comes streaming through over the line as well. And there's not too much shuffling. It's that early stage and that mid part of the qualifying where you really start to see the shuffling towards the end of the session. I don't know whether maybe a few things changed or you somewhat rest on your laurels with the time set, but it seems like those final 2 minutes weren't as eventful as we've seen before.
Yeah, I am looking. I think Gabriel Norse might be on a decent lap. He's yet to cross the line and take the checker flag as well. Currently a quarter of a second off pole position. I think he might be finding a couple of tenths. We'll see, of course, as he works his way across the line. Can he improve his position? He can. Up one to a 59 dead. It's an extra place, and that lines him directly behind Nathan Williams, of course. Those are two that we're tipping to maybe be favourites. But again, it's the first round of the championship. We can't read too much into it. But Nathan Williams at Brands Indy, nearly a 2/10 margin to P2 is pretty good going.
Yeah, it is as well, and we will be able to grab a chat with Nathan Williams. Nathan, you've joined us in the commentary box. I mean, we mentioned that you were the vice champion last year. You've not really got much to prove by way of pace. We know you're quick, but obviously it must have tasted somewhat bittersweet. Brilliant achievement last year. You coming back to do one more?
Yeah, obviously last year was obviously a bit annoying to get P2, obviously aiming for the championship. So it's hopefully coming back this time, so hopefully obviously get the championship.
And I mean, you've started off the season in the right way. The first points available all season long, you've got your hands on them with pole position. What does it take to be quick in one of these Saxos?
It takes quite a lot of confidence because you need to really keep the minimum speed up because they don't have any power out of the corner. So you're getting all the time by keeping the minimum speed and just being smooth mostly.
And obviously with all of this elevation change and quite a big grid, and it seems like a very close grid as well. Going into race 1, you've done half the job with qualifying. Race 2, is that where sort of the round as a whole is won or lost?
Well, yeah, I think race 1, it's very much about the start, and then race 2 is obviously where you can lose lots. Obviously, you have to make your way through the field, so you definitely there's a lot of points being involved in the collision. So race 2 is about being clean and obviously keeping on the momentum from race 1.
Well, best of luck for the evening. Hopefully we'll be able to grab a chat to you at the end of race 1 and maybe towards the end of race 2 as well. Best of luck, Nathan. Congratulations on the first pole position of the year.
Thank you.
Always good to grab a chat with Nathan, and it seems very relaxed. I don't know whether you picked up on that, Zach, but the only driver to make it into the 58s, obviously that will give you some confidence, but he just seems very relaxed and very open as to what is going to happen in the race. He's not going to, from going off what he sounds like, he's not going to sort of take liberties with pole position. He's going to let the race unfold and then focus on getting back to the top if he's dropped down.
Yeah, this is routine for him, right? He's done so many race starts. You know, he knows what it takes to fight at the front of a pretty competitive championship. We were talking about the PASR Pro Sim Rig Super Touring Championship, which never gets easier to say no matter how many times I say it. But he's leading the championship in there. And the driver P3 in that championship is 2024 Clio Cup GB champion Nicky Taylor, who's given him a very, very hard time at the last couple of rounds. He knows how to deal with pressure. He knows how to watch a race and let it unfold. He knows how to make the correct decisions at the correct time. He knows how to be consistent. He's just bagged himself a point before the first race has even started, and he's going to try and carry that steed going into the first race, and then of course limit the damage in race 2. He knows how these evenings go, and he knows how to maximise them.
Yeah, absolutely. You say, no stranger to being in this position. So we will walk our way down the grid. Nathan Williams lines up on pole position. Alongside him, we've got Levine Kishore. Then it's Gabriel Norse and Charlie Devlin on row 2. Row 3 of the grid is Albert Henriksen Bell and Alexander Oppenheim, followed by James Roberts and Will Clark on row 4 of the grid. Row 5 is Lucas Blanford and Sam Chilton, followed by Jake Critchley and Will Johnson on row 6 of the grid. 13th is Jake Wardle. 14th, we've got Charlie Kelso, followed by Jacob Ellis, Ben Mattis, Jake Halliwell, and Ethan Hayes rounds out your 18-strong car grid. Jordan Taylor sat at the tail end of the order in the BMW M2 PASR safety car, ready for any intervention should we need it. Hopefully we don't. I'd imagine he's somewhat relaxed in that car watching this lot go, because you can imagine he may need to hold fire on that grid. We're just waiting for the time to tick down, and then we'll be able to get the race underway. And Nathan Williams, he's on the lower part of the grid, which can be quite helpful because obviously it's the inside into turn 1. But if you're Levine Kishore, you're on the outside. If you can get your car sort of pointed towards pit exit quite early, you could almost use the camber of the circuit to build that momentum slightly earlier than the pole sitter.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's maybe more advantageous, of course, on the racing line, so you have a little bit more rubber to maybe give you a slight little bit more grip as well. And then into turn 1, if you're able to potentially squeeze them to the inside and then immediately sort of swoop out and go around the outside. It's very doable, and that's what Kishore is going to do, especially knowing that they're nearly 2/10 off pure pace in qualifying. Maybe there's a bit of a difference with that in terms of hooking up a lap and stuff, but Nathan Williams is not a driver you ideally want to let lead lap 1.
No, absolutely. But he's also the driver, from Levine Kishore's point of view, the driver you want to be in the lead heading on to the final lap of the race. Because what you'll usually find, if you're in the lead on the final lap of the race, you won't win the race at Brands Hatch. But it's similar to Thruxton, because the aerodynamic assistance can be that helpful. But we've got the lights getting ready, drivers getting ready as well. We're only a few seconds away from kicking off Season 3 of the Junior Saloon Car Championship official eSeries here at Brands Hatch. Nathan Williams on pole position, Levine Kishore alongside, lights out, and the championship gets underway. Nathan Williams gets a good start. Levine Kishore, as we expected, rolls the car over to the inside. He's trying to keep Nathan Williams tucked into that inside. There isn't enough of an overlap. It's very tidy further back. We've fallen into almost single file immediately. This is where we'll see the aerodynamic assistance really play a part nice and early. But can Levine Kishore jump his way up into the lead? A small look to the inside. The door doesn't open all the way around the outside. Charlie Devlin's giving it a go. Gabriel Norse with a cracking start is trying to defend from Albert Henriksen Bell. There's a bit of shuffling going on in the background, a couple of cars running wide. Everybody manages to rejoin and continue on. Now the race gets underway. We've got the start and the first couple of corners behind us. Now we can focus on looking for those gaps up the inside, maybe those late braking opportunities. And now effectively, this is where we're going to see these overtakes.
Yeah, Lucas Blanford waiting, of course, for the final corner to open up, just keeps it tight to the right-hand side, textbook move, and works his way up into 8th place. Of course, wants to stay on the back of Oppenheim. There you can see Critchley battling away. This is Jake Wardle and Kelso as well, just trying to maybe work their way into the mix. That's side-by-side towards turn number 1. Charlie Devlin as well from 4th on the grid, trying to work his way up into P2. But as a collective, with the gap to Nathan Williams and wide from Kishore, this could open the door for P2. This is music to the ears of Nathan Williams, who pulls out an extra couple of car lengths.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll see them fighting in that rearview mirror. Big dive up the inside from Charlie Devlin. We had a car running through the gravel on the exit of turn 1. Gabriel Norse does manage to just about fend off Albert Henriksen Bell, whilst also trying to attack Levine Kishore, who's later on the brakes. That might wash him wide on the exit of Graham Hill Bend and along the Cooper Straight. But Charlie Devlin, brilliantly read. We saw it almost unfolding on the exit of turn 1. By the time we got up to Druids, it was somewhat secure. And what he's done is he left Levine Kishore fighting away with Gabriel Norse. And Gabriel Norse has got to watch the inside again. A half look from Albert Henriksen Bell. He really wants to go forward. The body language of that car shows he's attacking those cars up the road. But behind Albert Henriksen Bell, we've got Will Clark, we've got Alexander Oppenheim, we've got Lucas Blanford, who we've already seen pick up a couple of places in the opening laps. Look at this over the line, absolutely nose to tail. Fastest lap of the race, as you'd expect from Nathan Williams in the lead. Big look up the inside from Will Clark. The door doesn't open for him, that washes him wide. And we've got Alex Oppenheim having a small look to the inside as well. That door doesn't open, but in turn, he's now got Lucas Blanford diving up the inside. They rub door handles. Lucas Blanford, he's on a mission, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not waiting around for anyone. He's trying to carve his way through. Oppenheim, of course, looks to solidify that into Graham Hill Bend and defend it, but the long way round, of course, track limits are crucial, but you can use quite a lot of that Astro on the exit, and that's going to give the advantage to the 67 machine, who I think is just going to slot ahead going into Surtees. Then, of course, this quick flick to the right and then into Clark Curve. I think he's going to be able to solidify that move nicely. So the 67 up into 7th place. Sam Shilton as well, trying to move his way up ahead of Roberts for the top 10. This is absolute carnage. You're trying to look forward to attack, but in doing so ruin your momentum, and then the driver behind's like, cheers mate, I'm going to get involved in this one as well.
Yeah, that's just it. You can't really fight for more than a lap because you will lose so much time. And immediately Alex Oppenheim, having a small look to the inside, gets doored unintentionally there by Lucas Blanford, who hit the brakes with a bit too much steering input, and obviously that light in the rear axle of the car rotated him 90 degrees, but both of them carry on. Sterling effort from the pair of them, but in turn that's opened the door, as you say, to the cars behind. William Johnson has got through. James Roberts is absolutely there. We're going to be side by side between Alex Oppenheim. No, we're not. He jumps on the brakes and decides he can't get that place back just as of yet to William Johnson. Lucas Blanford is immediately on the attack once again. This time it's on Will Clark, just a little bit further up the road. This is so close, and we're only 4 minutes in to the first of two 20-minute races.
Yeah, I cannot wait for this season if this is just the first 4 minutes of Season 3. William Johnson, of course, running ever so slightly wide, and that's the thing. I think that's going to set the theme for the rest of this evening, really. A slight mistake having huge consequences because the gap just pries open. Blanford to Clark already now 2 seconds after just sort of a lap of a couple of mistakes. Looking to the inside is Johnson there, but no way through, and ever so slightly wide, grabbing the curb in the wrong time, and Blanford, after his very big ascension in the first part of this race, now tumbling down well outside of the top 10, down to P13. Quite reminiscent of the last 10 seconds, really.
Yeah, Lucas Blanford, one small mistake, and that was it. 6 places lost in the space of 1 corner. But we've got sort of 2 trios now fighting away. We've got James Roberts at the tail of the first one, Alexander Oppenheim in the middle, and William Johnson just that little bit further up the road. Back from there, we've got Sam Chilton, Jake Critchley, and Jake Wardle side by side through McLaren and Clearways they will go, and James Roberts, he's got the best seats in the house, but you can see there one small mistake from Will Johnson. He turned in slightly early, that washed him wide. That might just cost him the position by the time we get towards turn 1. So over the line once again to tick lap number 5 in the book, heading on to the 6th lap of the race. James Roberts, he doesn't really know where to go here, because I don't know whether he's waiting for it to unfold and he doesn't want to go for a move as of yet, because there is still plenty of time left in the race. That or those up the road, they're scrapping but not losing as much time as you'd expect.
Yeah, it's an interesting position for him to be in, of course. You spend a lot of it just being idle, sort of letting it unfold, but equally, if the people in front of you are battling hard, you don't particularly want to be losing too much time to the pack in front. That's what Jake Wardle is doing. He's leading this sort of trio now with Blanford and Critchley. And if that 4 in front start to battle, they're going to very quickly claw the way back in. But I don't think Blanford got the memo. He's immediately back up the inside, trying to fight his way forward and get back inside the top 10. Of course, the space opens back up for Jake Wardle on the inside of Clark Curve for the final bend. However, Blanford on the outside has that agility, able to put his foot down. Ethan Hayes having problems with Mattis, I think it was indeed. Both of them round and back towards the quartet that we've got, and this one as well. Jake Wardle still side by side with Blanford, and behind that Critchley, like we said, the 3rd car in situ, not really able to do too much, but well defended from Wardle.
Yeah, absolutely so, and you can see now that is costing them time. They don't need to worry about it too much, because rumbling through the gravel once again is Jake Critchley, just pushing on, trying to chase that pair up the road. The battle for 2nd place is far from extinguished. Charlie Devlin and Levine Kishore sparring away as you'd expect. Back from there, you've got Gabriel Norse and Albert Henriks and Bell still fighting away. Nathan Williams up at the front is, 3 seconds clear now, so can continue his efforts of ticking the trio off in the first round of the year. Not only pole position, he's currently still got the fastest lap of the race. If he can add a win to that, it'll be the trio in the very first race of Season 3. That's exactly the way he'll want to do it. Levine Kishore, you can see he's sort of there or thereabouts. It's painstakingly close. He's trying it the long way around, or is he now going to look for the cutback on the exit of turn 1? Yes, he is. As soon as you get to the compression at the bottom of Paddock Hill Bend, you all of a sudden get the front darting in once again, and that confidence from Charlie Devlin to turn in. He knew Levine wasn't going to be there, but that's not only confidence in the car and confidence in his ability, it's confidence within each other that they're not going to go for those silly moves.
Yeah, it takes 2 to tango at the end of the day, or in this case, quite a lot to tango.
18.
Yeah, 18 to tango. Yeah, it's a very big tango, apparently. But yeah, it's that mutual respect they've got with each other, and they know that they're not going to do anything overly rash, particularly at this point in the race. You know, give it 10 minutes, we'll see the last couple of laps and things. But yeah, they know what they're doing. They know how to race cleanly. And momentum is a big thing, and I think that's what you said about going for the cutback. Such an important way to get a move done around this circuit in these cars. Paddock Hill, squeeze them on the inside, try and get back underneath them, because we've seen so many mistakes that's seen a driver run wide out of Paddock Hill Bend and give the opportunity to the driver behind going into Druids. And I think that's what Kishore's just got to be patient for. I think Nathan Williams is a bit of a glass ceiling. You can see him, but you're not really going to get to him unless he makes a mistake. So right now they're racing for 2nd, and they've got 11.5 minutes to do that. You don't need to do it this lap.
No, absolutely not. There's plenty of time left in this race. Is Alexander Oppenheim once again fighting away. This time he's got James Roberts up the road. Sam Chilton still on his coattails. He had a small look on the exit of Druids, but couldn't quite fight back to the all-white Junior Saloon Car up the road. And it must be awful being in the position of Lucas Blanford, because you're in that sort of no man's land. You've managed to get past Jake Wardle and you're trying to pull away, but you're not close enough to Sam Chilton up the road, so you can spend the next, 10 minutes of the race getting there, and then all of a sudden you've only got a minute to do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's half the battle. That's going to be what Blanford's going to be hoping. Chilton and Oppenheim have their own little tussle that allow them to close in a couple of tenths, because, again, with the momentum, side-by-side for a corner or two can lose you a lot of times. Defensive going into Druids Bend, of course. It's the side-by-side bit of contact as well between Devlin and Kishore. Kishore unable to find a way through, but the up and under is there. Down the hill, of course, towards Graham Hill Bend. Don't quite think it's going to open up. Really well defended from Devlin, just putting the car exactly where it needs to be. James Roberts, however, unfortunately, that is not where a car should be at all. There's fights up and down the order, but Kishore gave it a go.
You did indeed, and that's all you need. A bigger look to the inside now as they head up towards the final couple of corners. Is it going to be Levine Kishore? Is it going to be Charlie Devlin? I think they have sorted themselves out, or are they still side by side further up the road? Albert Henriksen Bell has managed to work his way through and past Gabriel Norse, and Levine Kishore, no, he couldn't make it work. Nathan Williams over the line at the halfway point. There is Levine Kishore still chasing down Charlie Devlin on the run in towards turn one. Levine using absolutely every inch of track available to him. Is he going to have another look to the inside on the run up towards Druids? We saw it happen a few laps ago. Charlie Devlin wise to the move, put the car in the middle of the road, moving back over in the braking area. Levine just holding him tight into that apex. I think it's going to be a matter of when and not if for Levine, or is Charlie going to reach his braking point and not exactly know what to do about Levine, because he's been there all race. You can get quite comfortable with a car being that close when there's been no contact, but all of a sudden if they stop driving at 8 tenths and go up to 9, that's when you see the battle intensify yet further.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you do get used to it. You sort of get lulled into a false sense of security of, it's fine. They didn't go for the move last lap. I'll be fine this lap. And then the moment they do, the moment they show their intentions, then you're scanning your mirrors and you're thinking, are they? And then you start doubting yourself. And then the later on into the race you get, the more likely it is they're going to go for something, maybe not necessarily desperate, but aggressive, certainly, especially for Kishore being sat behind, because as a driver, you don't really fancy seeing the rear end of another car. You'd rather be in front of it. But of course, for Devlin, he's doing a really good job and didn't make the mistake through Paddock Hill Bend. Kishore most definitely did. Small mistakes like that can definitely add up, particularly when you've got Henriksen Bell now reeling you in and certainly getting within the draft range to make this a four-way fight.
Yeah, absolutely. The place you want to be is at the front. The race is never going to be in your rearview mirror. It's always going to be out of the windscreen, and trying to remind yourself of that whilst in a battle is a very tricky thing to do indeed. Here is Jake Wardle riding on board, now down in towards Graham Hill Bend. You can see Sam Chilton up the road, managing the understeer just to keep that nose turned in, and it is all about that minimum speed, as we heard from Nathan Williams, keeping that as high as possible. That is a tricky job, because it's not only to do with the pedals, it's to do with the steering as well, not scrubbing too much speed. And is it better to brake into a corner or lift off and scrub that extra speed with the rear axle of the car? These guys will have had it down, especially those that have done over 1,000 laps, which we saw in practice, which is complete commitment and brilliant to see. Charlie Devlin, all of a sudden, he's got a bit of a gap, hasn't he? So I don't know whether that there was a substantial mistake from Levine Kishore on the lap prior, but 6 tenths lost from Levine, and that's put him dangerously close to the grasp of Albert Henriksen Bell, who's going to be after that final step of the podium with only 7.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, Henriksen Bell is a driver that very much will go for a move. I think back again to the last round at Castle Combe of the Super Touring Championship that we saw a couple of weeks ago. Henriksen Bell was just like, Nathan Williams, a couple of seconds up the road. Nah, mate, I'm going to fight with Nicky Taylor for second place because I can. So expect him to maybe go for that third place. 7 minutes left to go as well. So the laps are ticking by thick and fast. And that's got to be something Kishore's going to be mindful of. You need to be getting onto the back of Devlin, because if you're not, at the very least, posing a challenge, Henriksen Bell's going to be like, well, why would I work with you if I can do a better job? So, yeah, Kishore's got to prove that those mistakes were a one-off. He's going to get back onto the back of Devlin and start applying some pressure, because time very much is of the essence in the final stages of race number 1. And we've got, 4 drivers that all want a place on the podium, and only half of them are going to get there.
Yeah, it seems like that is going to be the case. Albert Henriksen Bell, all of a sudden the momentum has gone his way, and he is starting to close that gap and just start to, I think, apply that bit more pressure onto Levine Kishore. So looking at it, Jake Wardle as well has got a 5-second penalty for track limits. So he's clearly been not only fighting hard, but pushing the limits of the track as well. And unfortunately, the top 10 is where he is, but he's trying to inject himself even further into that top 10 at the moment, being in 10th place. He's just running through the final couple of corners now. He's got Sam Chilton up the road, who's come on incredibly over the past couple of seasons, leaps and bounds from when I first saw him, I think, in the Mazda MX-5 Championship, also here on Perfect Acceleration Sim Racing. Further up the road, as we say, we've got Sam Chilton. He is hunting down Lucas Blanford. Back to this sort of lead trio. They are starting to close in on each other. This is the battle, as you say, for the final step of the podium. Levine Kisher, Albert Henriksen-Bell and Gabriel Norris. All it takes is one small mistake, and you might be in Levine Kisher's shoes from the front to the back, or you could be at Gabriel Norris from the back to sort of out of range. That is the tricky thing. You've just got to try and manage that race. A flash of the lights from Albert Henriksen-Bell. He's pulling out all the stops here, isn't he, to get onto that final step of the podium.
Yeah, you gotta play the psychological game sometimes. That is wide from Kishore, and it is going to allow Henriksen-Bell just to close the gap a little bit. 5 minutes left to go, so very much coming into the final few laps of this race. And Henriksen-Bell, he knows how to do, and I expect we're going to see a couple of mine punts as well. Maybe some fakes to the inside, applying that pressure without having to do anything overly risky. Of course, getting on the curb, helping with a little bit of that rotation, matching each other through Paddock Hill Bend. And it's going to be those half looks, just filling the mirrors, placing the car in a way that you don't lose too much time, but you're still able to make the driver in front second guess themselves. And I think that's something that Henriksen-Bell is very, very good at, especially with the sort of lost hope that Kishore's going to be feeling, seeing Devlin get a second and a half away. He's in a very vulnerable spot here. Two drivers, very quick drivers behind him that want his place, and Kishore knows that, well, he was applying pressure to Devlin. He's now lost a second and a half. He's going to be feeling maybe a little bit down about that, and that podium place is something that Henriksen-Bell can go and nab off him because of it.
Yep, absolutely so. The penalties are starting to roll in a little bit more now. We've got a 5-second time penalty for Critchley as well. So Jake Critchley for track limits also. He will have to pay the price for that one. And we've not really mentioned it too much. We may only need to mention it maybe once more this season at when we return to Brands Hatch, just due to the nature of the circuit and how short the circuit is. Nathan Williams is going to have to deal with some lapped traffic. What's going to happen when the battle we're watching so intensely catches that lap traffic? Is it going to play a part? We've got 3.5 minutes still to go, so maybe not in this race, but the next race with the reverse grid, we may start to see that play a part. Fabulous work there from Ethan Hayes, jumping out of the way, so quick on the mirrors, and ever the sportsman is Ethan. He's seen that battle coming. Here is Levine Kishore. What is he going to do? Do you go to the outside? Do you go to the inside? It's so tricky because you want to take your standard racing line, but you can't expect the lapped traffic just to jump out of your way, because it is your job as the faster car coming through to work your way by.
Yeah, traffic gives, traffic takes, and it's a very big part, and it's a skill in of itself, one that you learn with experience. But Henriksen-Bell has had a better time through it, of course. A slight slowdown, of course, for Kishore on the exit of Clark Curve because of that traffic, and that's allowed Henriksen-Bell to close the gap in, not substantially, just a couple of attempts, couple of car lengths, but definitely close enough now to be a real big threat. 2.5 minutes left to go in this race. Henriksen-Bell, I mean, he's not got a lot of time, especially when overtaking opportunities around a circuit like this are few and far between. But that's a skill in itself. Fabricating opportunities when, you know, they're difficult to come by. You've got to apply that pressure, that psychological pressure, get close, force them into a mistake. And when an opportunity does arise, being straight on it, Lucas Blanford, he's had a stinker of a race in terms of luck, hasn't he? He's now pulling over, and that's his race done.
Yeah, he was doing brilliantly well, was Lucas Blanford. We saw the aggression, but sort of monitored aggression at the start of that race. He was doing incredibly well, was Lucas, picking up the places, and then it all came undone from there. Albert Henriksen-Bell still closing in on Levine Kishore. We've got 2 minutes to go as we cross the line. There's going to be, 3 laps left for Nathan Williams and co. But Albert Henriksen-Bell in turn is chasing Levine Kishore, but I think Gabriel Norris has started to fall off the tail of those two as well. In the background, Will Clark is fighting away with William Johnson. They're not too far away, but well within touching distance, and it takes one small mistake from one or the other to change the complexion of that race. And of course, that's for the final spot inside the top 10, or at least I thought it was. Ethan Hayes, that lap traffic it's proven he's jumped out of the way and minimised any time loss for anybody else. But he does have that pace to be within that top 6. Keep an eye on him in that reverse grid race coming up. I've got a feeling he'll be one to watch, and if he can maintain the good pace that he's got at the latter stages of this race, he could be on for a good result.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a driver, you know, you've had a poor race 1. Make up for it in race 2, or at the very least limit the damage and have some fun with it as well. You're going to be at the front this evening, and it's utter carnage and chaos. So make the most of it, have fun, take this as an opportunity, try and defend, cause some mishap, and obviously respectfully and within the confines of the rules, but be annoying to some people as well, particularly when, you know, the likes of Williams maybe carve their way through. Be annoying and just defend it, because you know, you got a chance to fight at the front and grab yourself a good result. Final few seconds, of course, of this race. Where is Nathan Williams on track? I think we are going to get ourselves one more lap. He's now running his way into the final corner for the penultimate time, so he's got one more tour and a 6-second gap back to Charlie Devlin. It's just been textbook stuff from Nathan Williams, and I think showcasing why he was so calm, cool and collected in the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? And here he goes on to the final lap of the race. 6 seconds clear is Nathan Williams, and he's just driven his own race, been picking his way through the traffic nice and easy, and kicking up a bit of grass on the apex of turn 1. There is Charlie Devlin. He's massively pulled away from Levine Kishore. Levine all of a sudden is back in the clutches of Albert Henriksen Bell. I'm not exactly sure this race is over, because Gabriel Norse isn't exactly too far away, and with the last lap board having been held out, Albert Henriksen Bell, he needs to come up with something special and maybe apply that a little bit more pressure onto Levine Kishore, and Levine just needs to keep it within the confines of the circuit and make sure he gets to the end of the race as well. But Nathan Williams, he's kicking off the season the right way, isn't he?
He very much is. He's got, of course, the final corner and the acceleration towards the line. It's from pole to flag for Nathan Williams, who, of course, was runner-up this time last season for the Junior Saloon Car Championship. He started off the right way, pole, fastest lap, and race victory for Nathan Williams.
Yeah, brilliant work for Nathan Williams. A shake of the wheel over the line. Charlie Devlin comes over the line to finish in 2nd place, and Levine Kishore rounds out your first podium of the year here at Brands Hatch, followed by Albert Henriksen Bell. Gabriel Norse over the line, followed by Will Clark. Will Johnson crosses the line now to finish in 7th place. Sam Chilton being hunted down over the line by Jake Wardle, and that is then followed by Jake Critchley, who rounds out your top 10. It's just as the timing screen is catching up, and that is exactly why Jacob Ellis, has he run out of fuel on the very final lap of the race? I thought he was due for a position inside the top 10, and that's why I was trying to keep up with it as he shuffled down the order. Unfortunately, Jacob Ellis, that is not the way you want to start off your season, but at least he knows he just needs to give it an extra click for the next race, and he'll be bang on the money.
Yeah, exactly. You were close. Just a little bit more. I mean, it's you were what, 200 meters away from getting it to the line. The most Lightning McQueen thing ever from Ellis. But well, it happens. Don't make the mistake again. It's something he's going to very quickly learn from. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely he will. We just saw rolling into the pit lane there. Our drivers will go in reverse order. Levine Kishore, welcome into the commentary box. What a way to kick off your season. Brilliant battles from start to finish. That's 3rd place.
Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, the whole thing was always like, the first half was me chasing and the second half was me trying to escape Albert. But yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. Is it just driving around with the biggest grin on your face? Because these cars look like such fun, and the driving is always respectful. You might have a slight bit of door-to-door contact, which we saw, but you don't take it lightly. You then go straight back to racing again, and there's always, you're either applying the pressure or the pressure is being applied. Was there any points in that race you thought, wow, I now really need to fight to hold on to this podium spot?
There was one point where I clipped the gravel in exiting turn 1. I think that was actually 2 points, and that really like shook me up. And then like once you're shaken up, you know, in the first part of the lap, it's very easy to get shaken up for the second. So I'm very happy with saving that space, saving that slot in 3rd.
No, great stuff. Massive congratulations, Levine. Hopefully we get to chat to you at the end of race 2. But what a way to kick off your season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Cheers, Levine. So, Charlie Devlin, I'll leave you in the capable hands of Zach Sweeney.
Yeah, capable hands. Cheers. Yeah, that's the, I'd say otherwise. managed that race quite well. Of course, had a bit of pressure from Kishore for a little while, but in the end was able to just sort of settle yourself in no man's land for sort of that final 7 or so minutes of the race. Talk us through your feelings of it, and of course the aspirations then for race 2.
Yeah, obviously it's my first race, so always a bit nervous going into it. Got a great start, made a place straight away. Got up to second, many defences, I have to say. Held my nerve well, and ended up pulling away.
Easy going. Of course, what are the main challenges then of Brands Indy? Where can you make the moves? Where do you have to sort of think twice before defending? How do you approach a battle around such a pretty fast circuit in these cars?
Most of all, I think the most opportunities you're going to see is switchbacks, most corners, due to the lack of power. So they're very easy to do. But slow cars, you can overtake at any opportunity.
Yeah, we definitely saw plenty of that over the duration of race 1, and well, starting towards the back of race 2, what's the plan?
Of course, make my way forwards. Hope to get a great start again. But yeah, we'll see where we end up. I'll push hard, we'll see.
Right, thank you very much for jumping in, and hopefully we'll have a chance to speak to you again after race 2. Congrats on P2 in race 1. Good way to start the season.
Thank you.
And back to you, Jack. The capable hands of Jack Rail for our race winner, Nathan Williams.
Yeah, I think me and Nathan had a similar sort of somewhat agreement in the previous season, where no matter what we did, we couldn't get away from each other. Every single night we had to talk to each other. So poor old Nathan, we're starting off the season in a very similar fashion. You've done the triple nice and early. Not only was it pole, not only was it the fastest lap, but it was also a win. Massive congrats, Nathan. Talk us through it.
Yeah, obviously it's quite a nice race. I managed to get an okay start. Obviously, Levine got a bit better start than me, but I was able to hold her going down to turn 2. And then I just saw from there, second and third were battling, and I was just able to think just pull away a bit while they were battling, and then just keep pushing the car, not going too much over the limits, and then just slowly pull away as well.
I suppose that is sort of nail on the head there, isn't it? You sort of drive your own race, let the cars behind do what they want to do. But if you overdrive in doing that, we've seen what it's like. One small mistake can cost you so dear, especially on a short circuit like at Brands Hatch, because obviously you've got all of that elevation change. You make a small mistake out of turn 1, it's then a pain to get up the hill in towards Druids. But it didn't seem like you put a foot wrong, but running around on your own is very different now to starting towards the tail end of the order. 15th place you're starting this race. That's 14 cars in front of you you've got to try and pick through. Is there anything that you draw upon to do that? Is it previous experience? Is it knowledge of the cars, knowledge of the drivers, or sort of a recipe of them all together?
Well, obviously I think I have quite a bit of knowledge in terms of the fact that obviously I raced last season, so I can definitely use sort of, I know how the cars battle, I know sort of what's the best way to sort of avoid anything on the first lap. And then, obviously, I think there's quite a few drivers I haven't raced against, so it's just learning how they drive and hopefully manage to get through the pack as quick as possible.
Great stuff. Well, we will massively look forward to it. Hopefully we can have a chat to you again come the end of race 2. But Nathan Williams, massive congratulations. You've done the triple nice and early here in season 3.
Thank you.
Thank you to our top 3 jumping in the commentary box with us. This is effectively the main event now, Zach, isn't it? This is the reverse grid. This is action-packed start to finish, because you've not necessarily got drivers out of position. You've just got drivers that weren't in the position they wanted to be in race 1, which has affected where they start in race 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that you've sort of just pressed sort by slowest to fastest. It's more just the finishing order, right? So we've got an incredibly competitive grid. I mean, in quali, we saw the top 12 separated by what, about 0.5 of a second? Not a lot, considering how strong the slipstream is. And when you've got the winners of race 1 sort of, you know, down in P14, pack spread is going to be a big thing. They're going to be wanting to make their way through before the majority of the field spreads. And of course, those at the front are going to be like, well, result, opportunity for me to climb my way forward. So yeah, 20 minutes, the same amount of points on offer. This is going to be a pretty barnstorming race from start to finish, we hope.
It will indeed. James Roberts just flickering about a little bit there. Hopefully he can stay with us throughout the race. Jake Halliwell takes up pole position. Ben Mattis alongside, followed by Alex Oppenheim and Charlie Kelso on row number 2. The lights are up on screen. Race 2 of season 3 about to get underway here at Brands Hatch. Jake Halliwell gets a good start. It was an okay start from Ben Mattis on the outside. You can see he's desperately trying to push that car down the hill in towards turn 1, but in response to that, Jake Halliwell put the car in the middle of the road, and that left him massively vulnerable to Alex Oppenheim. He immediately dives his way up the inside and into the race lead. Following him through, I think there was Charlie Kelso. The pair of those two read that situation absolutely perfectly in the background. Nathan Williams is trying to carve his way up the order as soon as possible, but both to Alex Oppenheim and Charlie Kelso, I take my hat off. Brilliant, brilliant stuff in the very early stages of the race.
Yeah, very, very, very clever driving indeed. As a spinner in the background, that's Halliwell, who's had an absolutely abysmal start to race number 2, and really, really unfortunate. Fight for second, though. Oppenheim leads. Mattas and Kelso then are going to be going side by side into Surtees and towards Clark Curve. Let's see who's going to be the beneficiary of this one, and it might well be Roberts from behind, who sees the open gap, tries to thread the needle to the middle. Bit of contact between the pair of them as Kelso is then forced wide. That's going to invite Jake Wardle and maybe Critchley as well, and this is how important momentum is. You go wide for one corner, and you've got about 10 drivers that are like, cheers, mate, I'm getting involved, and oh my goodness me, what a first lap that was.
I was just looking at Gabriel Norse. He was not taking his foot off the throttle, absolutely flat to the board on the grass with the wing mirror scratching along the pit wall. Brilliant stuff. Very, very sideways on the run through turn 1. Nathan Williams gets caught up in that one. He does manage to keep the car pointing the right way, flicking from left to right to left again. I have to say, Charlie Kelso, with everything that was going on around him and an aided spin, very well done for keeping that out the way of everybody else. Really well done for keeping that out the way, Charlie. But now we've got the race really underway. Jake Wardle, he's had a cracking start to his race as well, hasn't he? Already up into 3rd place and pushing on. But more importantly, behind him, Gabriel Norse, one of those names we mentioned at the start of this evening. He's pushing on, but he's not doing so too aggressively. He's biding his time. There you go. He waited for the opportunity to present itself. The door opened on the brakes, dived his way up the inside. He nearly made it 2 cars in one corner. By the time we get to it, it'll be no cars in one corner somehow. And the complexion of that overtake changed, but he cannot wait around anymore. Nathan Williams, race 1 winner, vice champion in season 2, right behind him.
Yeah, exactly. And if there's one driver in this championship I don't want directly behind me, especially one that's tipped to be the favourite of the championship, it definitely is going to be Nathan Williams. Jake Critchley, of course, side by side with Kishore, who's making some sensational progress. And I'm quite surprised to see that we've got pretty universal great progress from all of our race 1 top scorers. Nathan Williams on the back of Gabriel Norse, and there's a spin T-bone straight into the side of Roberts. Nathan Williams was unable to avoid that. Roberts, of course, stuck on the apex of Druids, gets tagged from here, there and everywhere. Jake Wardle up the inside of Mattas. That's for turn P2 into Graham Hill Bend at turn 3, and Oppenheim now 2 seconds clear. He is looking at this and just going, I am running away as fast as I can. Don't want any part in this whatsoever. Nathan Williams, of course, somehow only lost a couple of places in that whole skirmish, and to be honest, got quite a lucky escape there. So too did Gabriel Norse, as well as Will Clark has a spin and tumbles down probably outside of the top 10 by the time he reaches Paddock Hill.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see a safety car there with the car in the middle of the road, which I think we are. Everybody's working their way in single file. Yes, we are. So safety car has been deployed. That's so unfortunate for that car that was stuck in the middle of the road. They've managed to get going once again, but everybody falls into their relative positions. There was a bit of shuffling around, but you could immediately see drivers sort of going, no, that absolutely was you. I wasn't in that position. I've taken that unfairly. And again, it's that sportsmanship which we always see with perfect acceleration sim racing. But Alex Oppenheim, he will be ruining that moment. He really wanted to walk away with that. 2.5 seconds clear by the time the safety car deployed. It then came out, and that lead has dissipated to absolutely nothing. Jake Wardle, he's going to be hot on his heels.
Yeah, Jake Wardle, but I'm thinking sort of Gabriel Norse, Kishore, Williams, who, of course, we were talking about that initial field spread. They did well, you know, for the first part of this race to climb their way exponentially forward over the first lap, making up places here, there and everywhere. Now they've been afforded this opportunity. They're not going to be waiting around. The field is once again close. They can see where they want to finish, and it's basically a crosshairs on the back of Alexander Oppenheim, who's got a very tough job ahead of him then after the safety car period to keep it. He's just going to need to hope similar shenanigans happen for the first couple laps of the restart, so he can bolt away in a similar fashion. But like I've said, I don't think Jake Wardle is going to be too kind to that, and will probably almost immediately, at the very least, try to put some pressure on.
Yeah, and of course, it's all down to Alex now. Once the safety car has peeled into the right entry of the pit lane, it's all down to him. He chooses when he wants to go. See, now if I was Alex going along the Cooper Straight, I'd be backing them up, really starting to slow that pack down, giving the safety car room to get in, and then absolutely gunning it nice and early, try and catch a few people off guard. Safety car lights are off, so Jordan Taylor will bring the BMW M2 safety car into the pit lane. And now if you're Alex, you could effectively go now, but Jake isn't exactly far away, is he? As soon as Alex puts his foot to the floor, Jake Wardle is going to be following him. I think that's it. Alex has got this race back underway, so Oppenheim will lead them out of the safety car period, still with 14.5 minutes to go. Nathan Williams is in 7th place. We've got Gabriel Norse up into 4th. Jake Wardle was very racy at the start of race number 2 this evening. Keep an eye on him for potentially moving yet further forward and into the lead of the race. But for me, Gabriel Norse and Nathan Williams, those two might come towards each other, if not come together, by the time they both get to the lead. This is going to be great to watch.
Oh yeah, really looking forward to that. Gabriel Norse not waiting around for anyone. Straight up the inside of Ben Mattis and to the inside of Druids. Nicely done. The cutback is there though. Speaking of course to our P2 man over the break, and well, that's exactly what it is. Switchbacks all the way through. However, Nathan Williams going to try his chances to the outside of Graham Hill Bend. Nicely done. Up into 6th place, and ideally needs to get that done. Look at the gap already formed between himself and Kishore. Nathan Williams needs to be using that pace we saw in qualifying to get onto the back. Speaking of our P2 man, Charlie Devlin, unfortunately, still down in P12 with Hendricks and Bell. So of the leaders, these two are the ones that didn't quite get the most fortunate of starts. They're doing battle for 12th, and well, they've got to be careful because Ellis is still there, and they've got a sizable gap up to Johnson if they want to finish anywhere other than 12th this race.
Yeah, they really do. Last time through, we have had, I'm trying to keep up with the fastest lap. That keeps being traded from top to bottom of the order. It did go to William Johnson with a 59.422, which, bearing in mind he's battling away, is very impressive indeed. Jake Wardle remains in 2nd place, only a quarter of a second away from Alex Oppenheim in the lead. He's really starting to apply that pressure. Visually, you can see they've got much closer. Gabriel Norse is still pushing on. Levine Kishore is there with him. Levine can make it 2 podiums from 2. He'll be a very happy man come the end of this evening. But Alexander Oppenheim, does he defend? Yes and no. You will want to defend. Naturally, you want to hold on to that position. But if you drive your own race and just place the car where Jake Wardle wants to place his, that can be a very, very good form of defence. But Jake can't hang around too much because Gabriel Norse is behind him, Levine Kishore's behind him. Nathan Williams has picked up a place since we came out of the safety car period. This is going to get very close indeed.
It is indeed a slight mistake there from Oppenheim. Slightly wide, just missing the curb through Paddock Hill Bend, but able to hang on to it quite nicely. Wardle, of course, late on the brakes into Druids as they all bunch up once more, and this is getting very busy. Jake Critchley on the outside of Sam Chilton into Druids. There you can see Lucas Blankford as well, trying to make up and get some redemption for race 1. He's not scared to be going for some moves either. Side by side as they go into Graham Hill Bend. Critchley on the inside and pushing Chilton to the outer extremities of the circuit, putting his foot to the floor and trying to go to the outside there as Blanford, and it's worked for him quite nicely. Gabriel Norse sees the inside open up on Wardle to the inside of the final corner, says thank you very much, and is going to try and take P2.
I don't blame him at all. Jake Wardle there, he's hanging on for dear life on the exit. Gabriel Norse, he saw the door open and slung the car up the inside. Cracking work from Jake Wardle, however, for being that wide and still finding that gap and immediately wanting to fight back. He's got the momentum, he's looking to the outside of Gabriel Norse on the running towards turn 1. That's going to be a very brave move. Armfuls of opposite lock as we jump on board with Jake Wardle. That draws him back towards the apex and kills some of the momentum. So Levine Kishore's back up into 3rd place, following on from his 3rd place in race 1. We're not even halfway there yet, Zach, and we've seen what you would normally describe as a season's worth of action. We've done all that in 10 minutes, and we've still got the rest of the season to go. If this isn't the advert to stick around, I don't know what is. Big move up the inside there on Sam Chilton. So Will Johnson, who previously had the fastest lap of the race, he's clearly putting that pace to good use and he's fighting on. But you can see that is it. That is that small mistake. You dive up the inside, it doesn't work for you. You lose some of your momentum, and Charlie Devlin has put pay to that. So too as Albert Hendricks and Bell. Big lunge up the inside, and he might just about pick up another place.
Yeah, he is going to indeed. Devlin, of course, now side by side with Chilton as they approach Paddock Hill Bend. I think they're going to sort of work their way into 2 rows of 2, just about. No, Johnson's going to have to tuck in behind. So Samuel Chilton now on the outside of Paddock Hill, not typically where you want to be. So I think going to back out and try and go for a switch back. Johnson, of course, sees the inside open up on Hendricks and Bell, but that's not quite going to materialise in the way that he'd have wanted to. Wardle and Williams swapping places as well, we can see on the timing tower. So it's all kicking off very, very quickly. What I'm thinking of, you said we've got the whole season of action still to come. I'm thinking, what if, when we're back at Brands Indy, race 2 is the championship deciding race, and this is how we do it? I cannot wait for the rest of this season.
No, neither can I. And if you can't wait for the rest of this season to watch along, why not get involved? If you are out there and you are eligible to join, absolutely get involved. We do still have places available on the grid, so please do just ask the question. Head over to Perfect Acceleration Sim Racing, whether that be the website, whether it be the Discord, or any of us. Just send us a quick message. We'll be more than happy to get you involved, because you've seen what we can do with 18 cars on the grid. Imagine what we can do with 28 cars on the grid. I'm sure Tom's thinking in the production office, oh, that's just more cars to try and keep up with. Yes, it is. I don't know how you're keeping up with 18. It's very, very busy out there on circuit at the moment. Alex Oppenheim, though, what a brilliant job he has done so far. He's 6.5 tenths clear of Gabriel Norse, and he's just continuing to manage that pace. Last time through it was a 59.6, Gabriel Norse with a 59.3. So whilst the gap is coming down, he's managing that pace exactly how he wants it. Nathan Williams, however, purple sector starting to flash up on the timing screen. He's closing in on those podium places, isn't he?
He very much is, and he's not going to wait around once he gets there. Of course, the battle for P10 still going on. That's, of course, Johnson still fighting with Henriksen Bell, giving a really good go for the last couple of laps. But once again, space opens up on the inside of Clark Curve. Critchley tries to fill it. However, being late on the brakes, you have to scrub off too much speed, and unfortunately not going to work out for him there. Johnson able to keep 12th place. Blipping around a little bit is Matt S, and that of course is for 10th place. I think all is good. However, if he continues to do that, it's probably the worst thing, having to battle a ghost car that you're not quite sure is where. So hopefully his ping is able to level itself out. Outside line, of course, though, for Johnson through Paddock Hill Bend. If he's able to pull this one off, that'll be mightily impressive. Henriksen Bell gives him the space. They're still side by side as they go under the bridge towards Druids. I think the 42 just about going to be able to hang on to this, but it's not been made easy at all by Johnson.
No, Will Johnson, I think we need to keep an eye on him for not only the rest of this round, but for rounds to come. You can see, so wise to the move, placing the car in such a tricky position for Albert Henriksen Bell to defend from. He knows the length and the width of his car, does Will Johnson. If that pace continues to creep up the way it has been, he's going to be very, very quick and absolutely one to watch throughout this season. But a big lunge up the inside from behind Will Johnson as he was focused on the car up the road from Jake Critchley. He pulls out of the move as he can't quite see that space remaining open for him, and Ethan Hayes has gone off the road. I saw another car driving away. That was Jake Halliwell. I don't know whether there was contact between the pair of them. All of a sudden, Alex Oppenheim's lead isn't looking so safe, because Gabriel Norse is absolutely there. Levine Kishore under big pressure from race 1 winner Nathan Williams. Is he going to have a look to the inside, dummy the outside, then a look to the inside? No, not quite close enough this time. But Nathan Williams, he's got 6.5 minutes, 6 and 3/4 minutes to decide what he's going to do with this. Is he going to knock Levine Kishore off the provisional podium early and then focus on chasing the top 2? But then again, if you're Nathan, you'll be wise to that. You'll see those 2 leaders fighting away. There's no use going for a really aggressive move on Levine if they are just going to slow each other down, which I think is what they're about to do now, because Alex Oppenheim is on the outside as we come towards the line to tick lap number 13 in the book, going on to lap number 14. Gabriel Norse just doesn't quite have the momentum in which he would want to hold on to the inside on the running towards turn 1. Levine Kishore still holding fire. He's effectively playing rear gunner for the rest of this top 2, isn't he? But Nathan Williams, the motivation's there. He wants to make that 2 from 2.
Yeah, exactly. Gabriel Norse looking to the inside, just filling the mirrors. Nathan Williams filling the mirrors and, well, filling the space to the inside of turn number 2 as well here at Druids. Bit of contact between himself and Levine Kishore. Nathan Williams, by the way, didn't have to deal with any racing in race 1. This is all sort of new ground to him for this season. Of course, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to approach situations like this, but getting very aggressive. Just got to be careful. It is a very tight rope you've got to walk. You want to have that track position and apply the pressure to Norse and to Oppenheim, but equally you don't want to then subsequently lose too much time to them in doing the battle with Kishore. But we have seen that being behind isn't a bad thing in terms of the overall grand scheme of the battle. You can do a lot of damage just by being sat behind them, waiting for the opportunity, using the momentum to your advantage. Nathan Williams, he's got 5 minutes left to go. Time is of the essence, and it's just one of those things of how long can you afford to wait around as Gabriel Norse makes the mistake to Paddock Hill Bend. There's contact. Nathan Williams goes to the left and he's into the gravel, and that is absolute carnage. They've all been able to hang on to it. Norse keeps second place, but crucially Oppenheim gets away.
Yeah, somehow Alex managed to escape that. All of a sudden, the momentum goes back his way. The pendulum swings once more in the Junior Saloon Car Official eSeries. This is brilliant to watch. We never like to see the accidents, but all of a sudden, Alex Oppenheim could be on for a win. He needs to manage this race absolutely perfectly to the end. He's got the bit of lap traffic between himself and the cars behind by way of Jake Halliwell, or of Ethan Hayes, pardon me. I thought Jake Halliwell was involved as well. Clever driving from Ethan Hayes, just trying to stay out the way as best as possible. Alex Oppenheim is still your leader. Gabriel Norse, that lead gap has come out to, what, 1 full second once again. Nathan Williams picking his way through the incident at turn 1, potentially picking up a bit of damage as well. He's into 3rd place. Levine Kishore, he's been quite hard done by there, hasn't he? Because it seemed like an incident everybody was involved with, and he's lost a spot on the podium for now at least.
Yeah, I mean, we say hard done by us. Oh my goodness me, is that Blanford going off in the background? It is side by side with Charlie Devlin. Don't know how he's been able to hang on to that one, but just about able to do so. We say hard done by for Kishore. He lost 1 place, and at that in that type of battle, that is quite a lot. Blanford looks to the outside of Graham Hill Bend. I think Devlin letting him through again as a show of potential sportsmanship. But yeah, for Kishore, could be disastrous in that full-wave fight at the front. The gap though, Norse to Oppenheim back under a second and back within slipstream range. So we've got 5 cars as well. Jake Wardle back into the mix as there's the look to the inside for Devlin, who led him back through, but not for very long as he works his way back up in the 7th place.
He does indeed. So Blanford will continue to try and fight through the order and fight his way back up through the order at this point. All of a sudden, he seems like there's a second win now for Gabriel Norse. He's closed down the full second to 0.3 of a second, and why wouldn't you? Because you've got a very racy Nathan Williams getting closer and closer and closer in your rearview mirror. There's 3 minutes of the race to go. A slight lock up there from Gabriel Norse on the brakes on the run in towards Druid's Corner. It's all going on in the background. Albert Henriksen Bell picking up a position on Charlie Devlin. He's trying to do the same to Sam Chilton, who's a bit further up the road. Ben Matters picking his way up the inside of Will Johnson. Will Johnson, he's been locked in battles all night. All he will want to do is get a bit of track on his own, and he just can't quite find it at this stage in the race. But Gabriel Norse, what does he do? He's got Nathan Williams behind him. He's got Alex Oppenheim in front of him. He's got to make a move. He cannot wait for the move to come. He has to try and make his own luck in this position, because Nathan Williams isn't going to wait for him to work his way by. He either goes by now, or Nathan will go by them both.
Yeah, exactly. Gabriel Norse is probably in the worst sandwich imaginable at the minute. Yeah, Williams is going to be applying that pressure. Norse, of course, needs to scrub off that slight mistake that he made a couple of laps ago, not let it affect him. He is sort of half defending, and quite cleverly he's still able to apply somewhat pressure to Oppenheim. However, there's a mistake. Nathan Williams draws alongside him down the hill towards Graham Hill Bend, and this is disaster for Gabriel Norse in this race, in his pursuit for victory. Nathan Williams looks to go to sweep to the outside. Fantastic stuff from our race 1 winner. He's in pursuit, of course, for doing the double victory. Less than 2 minutes left to go here for round 1 of the Junior Saloon Car Championship here at Brands Hatch Indy. Kishore as well looking to get involved there. Nose to tail as they approach the final corner. Gabriel Norse looks to send the move back on the inside of Nathan Williams. He had to do that, gets pinched on the apex, and now Nathan Williams is home free to apply the pressure for the victory.
He is indeed. So Alex Oppenheim remains in the lead with 1.5 minutes to go. There's 2 laps. Alex will be hoping these 2 laps disappear and he can see himself crossing the line and taking the checkered flag first. Nathan Williams will be wanting to get the move done on this lap and buy himself a bit of time early on the final lap of the race. Levine Kishore, in the meantime, he wants to make it 2 from 2, getting onto the 3rd step of the podium. A bit of rubber banding out there on circuit, which the pair of them respect, and just give each other that little bit of extra room on the run into the corner. Levine Kishore, however, he could make this good for 3rd place. Gabriel Norse, however, is on the inside on the run in towards Graham Hill Bend. It's hard work to try and make it stick around the outside. The pair of them rub door to door, and Levine goes up the grass. They're still side by side. Levine holding him tight to the inside and looking to carry the momentum around the outside on the run in towards the final couple of corners. It's not going to work for him, but this is how close the racing can be. Levine Kishore late on the brakes, dives his way up the inside, gets armfuls of opposite lock applied in response to the oversteer in which he found at the apex, and somehow the pair of them carry on in the positions that they were. But Will Clark's arrived on the scene, so too is Jake Wardle. There's 4 cars fighting over the final step on the podium, and the lead isn't even decided, as we head on to the final lap of the race.
Yeah, this is all kicking off very quickly. 4 cars, Paddock Hill Bend for the final time. Norse is able to hang on. Kishore getting pushed through by Jake Wardle. He gets pushed way too wide into the gravel. That's going to invite Will Clark and Wardle through. Will Clark going to try and apply it. Here's the move for the lead as well. Nathan Williams on the inside of Alex Oppenheim, who's held on for the last 20 minutes plus his safety car restart. He's going to be doing his utmost in order to hang on. Nathan Williams, of course, wants the double. This time tries to go for the switchback. There's contact. He's running out of time to get this win.
He is indeed. Alex Oppenheim with a fabulous start to this race. He saw the move present itself. He dived to the inside, opportunistic on the slower cars up the road. And since then, he has been in the lead of the race. Flashing the lights from Nathan Williams. There was a bump in the rear coming onto the Cooper Straights, heading on to the start-finish straight now. Nathan Williams, he hasn't got the momentum he needs to make it 2 from 2, so he hasn't been able to do the double, but that will come, I'm sure, throughout this season. But Alex Oppenheim takes the win here at Brands Hatch. He wins race 2. What a brilliant drive from him. Nathan Williams crosses the line in 2nd place, and it's Gabriel Norse that rounds out your podium. Jake Wardle with a fabulous 4th place. Will Clark crosses the line in 5th, ahead of Levine Kishore. 2 solid point-scoring finishes from him, followed then by Lucas Blanford and William Johnson crossing the line in 8th place, side by side over the line in the background. Charlie Devlin finishes in 9th. Jake Critchley rounds out your top 10. Then it's Ben Mattis, Sam Chilton, Jacob Ellis, Charlie Kelso, and Albert Henriksen Bell will come towards the line to finish in 15th place. We're just waiting for Jake Halliwell as he comes along the Cooper Straight. We have already seen Ethan Hayes over the start-finish line. We've now somehow got to decide a driver of the day in all of that. For me, surely it has to be Alex Oppenheim.
Oh yeah, I think that's the discussion we're having in our broadcast chat. Obviously, Nathan Williams has driven really, really well this evening. He knows that, but that race from Alex Oppenheim was just insane. Dealing with the pressure from, of course, the 2024 Ginetta Junior Official eSeries champion of Gabriel Norse, a safety car restart, 20 minutes of pure pressure, and then Nathan Williams on the final lap. To deal with that and come out on top is mega. What a race 2 we had there, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. What a treat. And we can at least thank 3 of the drivers that were involved that just made that absolutely brilliant to watch. You know what, Zach? I took first dibs last time. You can pick who you want to speak to.
Oh, it's just because you want to work it out with Nathan Williams for P2. So I'll start with Gabriel Norse, so you can go with Nathan. Gabriel, of course, hello. It's been a couple of months since I spoke to you, so obviously well done on the championship win with Ginettas, and I hope you enjoyed the whole scholarship process. But you're back for another scholarship opportunity, and quite a manic race too, to say the least.
Yeah, first of all, the Ginetta scholarship was really good. And then, yeah, I've entered this one, trying to also win it, and so far it's not going too bad, and I thought I could maybe get first that race, but in the end I just wasn't quick enough, and so Nathan overtook me and I came home 3rd.
Still, at the end of the day, not bad points to be taken home, considering, of course, you've still got, you know, the rest of the season to enjoy. We go to Cadwell in a week's time. Castle Combe, Thruxton, Snetterton, Anglesey, Alton Park, and then back at Brands. Which round are you most looking forward to? After today, with 1 round in the books, do you feel that the championship is doable?
Yeah, I think the championship will be hard because Nathan's very quick and he's always going to be up there, and then the others are very quick. But yeah, there's not really a track that I'm sort of like looking forward to where I think I can do really well. But I think I can do pretty good on most of them.
Nice, I do love that confidence, and of course, round 1 in the book, so the nerves calmed a little bit. What were the sort of biggest challenges of tonight then? Was it staying on the pace, or was it dealing with the racing that sort of caught you out maybe this evening?
I think it was probably like the racing. A lot of people were quick. I think the top 10 were within about half a second of each other, which is just not something you see very often. But yeah, it was very fun tonight. It was very like quick and good racing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming and have a chat. Congrats on P3. Good start to the championship, and hopefully we'll have a chance to speak to you plenty of times over the duration of Season 3.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome stuff. Gabriel Norse, P3 in race number 2. And over to Jack Rowell with his partner in crime, Nathan Williams.
Nathan Williams, once again, as we found out in Season 2, as we're finding out in Season 3, you just can't quite get rid of me. What a race. It all got a bit hairy in those final couple of minutes, but the drive through the field and that consistency and being incredibly quick whilst you're doing so, that's got to be a massive motivator heading into the next round.
Yeah, obviously, I'd like to start off by saying a massive well done to Alex. That was an amazing race. But yeah, I think it's definitely a lot of confidence carry from this round. I definitely felt that there was pace there in both of the races. Definitely the chance I could have won both. But so yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season now.
And has anything changed from season 2? Have you had to change anything with driving style, or sort of any further knowledge that you find quite valuable now coming into this season?
I think it's just a lot more experience. Obviously, I'm doing the Pro Sim Rig Super Tourist Championship, and that's taught me a lot with how to drive a car that's maybe not too similar to this, but there's still definitely some transferable skills. So I feel that's the main thing that's changed from season 2.
Great stuff. And just round up the night very briefly for us. Obviously, a win in race 1, P2 in race 2, massive haul of points. Surely the only thing you could have done was get a win in that second race, but you've got so much to take away from this, a massive haul of points as well.
Yeah, I still would have liked to take the win in race 2, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. I know the pace is there. Definitely the championship is on, and I've started in the best way possible. So yeah, just looking forward to next race. Hopefully, you can carry the momentum.
Great stuff. We'll look forward to seeing it. Thank you so much for joining us in the commentary box once again, Nathan Williams. Congratulations on your performances this evening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, thank you.
So good to speak to Nathan Williams, and let's be honest, Zach is the man we all want to hear from.
Yeah, the one, the only Alex Oppenheim, who, well, started the season off pretty darn well. Obviously, race 1. Talk us through that before we get to, of course, your main event of race 2. Just talk us through qualifying, then into the race, sort of starting in that sort of mid top 10 area, and really, how did race 1 go, and then subsequently set you up for race 2?
Race 1 evidently didn't go the best. Quali went pretty well. Wasn't expecting to be that high up in the grid for Quali, so P7 was a nice surprise in the end. At the start, I didn't shift correctly, so I got a bit of I slowed down a bit, got a bit of gearbox damage, and then that kind of rattled on at the end of the race, or until the end of the race, where I think at the end I had orange gearbox damage and had to shift very gently, so pace dropped considerably at the end there.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar with this set of course, having orange damage most definitely is not good news, to say the least. Talk us through then, obviously before race 2, because, you know, let the tension build. What is the start process like in the SAC? So is it floor it and hope for the best, or is there quite a methodical approach to the 5 red lights?
I think you have to be quite gentle with the clutch. I'm still not used to these cars. I only entered in this championship yesterday, so I haven't had the most prep time. But I've kind of figured out how to start it. You have to be somewhat gentle off the clutch, and off you go.
Yeah, simple as, really. And probably one of the most, especially tonight, probably quite an important part of the race. Which, race 2, you know, you didn't start on pole, but you had a really good start, safety car restart as well, and then you had to deal with Gabriel Norse and Nathan Williams, 2 of the big gunners we expect in this championship, and you dealt with both of them. You must be ecstatic, full of confidence, and ready to tackle pretty much anything this season throws at you.
Yeah, I was pretty bloody happy with that win in the end. I was shaking a bit halfway through when I saw Nathan and Gabriel behind me, because I know I didn't really have the pace around here to keep it in front of them for that long. The safety car also didn't help me that much, because I think I had a 2-second gap going into it.
Yeah.
But overall, you know, I couldn't wish for anything more.
Yeah, no, you did fantastically. I mean, it was by no stroke of luck. You know, the pace was there, the consistency was there, the racecraft was absolutely there, and to deal with all that pressure at such a young age, and then, of course, come home with the win. For your efforts, of course, you are our first driver of the round. You get yourself some 3M UK sim gloves to go with it. So a nice celebration for the first start, and not bad considering you entered yesterday. Did you expect this round to go this well after just signing up yesterday?
No, to be frank, to be totally honest, yesterday, I think for the first, I want to say 30 laps, I was 2 seconds off pace, and then just started finding it. Yeah, I was never expecting to be at the front this early, but hopefully I can carry this on.
Yeah, fingers crossed, of course. In a week's time, we're going to be heading to Cadwell Park. So quite contrasting to Brands Hatch Indy, quite technical, quite should hopefully be quite a lot of fun in a week's time. But we'll let you go, let you enjoy the night, celebrate with some fruit shoots or something, and we'll see you back, practice well, and see if you can carry the momentum forward.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Awesome stuff. Alex Oppenheim, our winner of race 2 and our driver of the round, and quite rightly so, Jack. Pretty ecstatic with how his evening's gone.
Yeah, over the moon, I am sure, and a deserving winner of our first driver of the round. But what a way to kick off the season. Not only did we get a fabulous advert for the season, whether it be as a spectator, whether it be as a competitor, which you can still be if you are watching along at home and you are eligible for the series, do get in touch. And if you're not eligible for this series, we've still got races to come with the Pro Simrig Super Touring 2024 Sim Series. And from what I've seen, it's incredibly close. Zach, you're quite well acquainted with this one, aren't you?
I say well acquainted. I've done 2 whole rounds, but the first one at Donington was fantastic. And then Castle Combe, a couple of weeks ago, myself and Alex were treated to 2 fantastic races. We had Nikki Taylor managed to start from the pit lane and gain 3 seconds from it. Obviously, in the end, lifted off and had a pretty mighty tussle with Henriksen Bell. We saw Carnage, we saw Chaos, and it's open setup as well. So for those that like to tinker with some classic touring cars, it's right up your alley. So close, so competitive, a lot of fun, and still 2 rounds left to go at Crofton Alton Park. If you want a 2-round swing to try and have some fun in what is probably one of the best touring car championships that I've ever seen in sim racing, definitely get on it. Yeah, bottom line is it's been a fantastic season, 2 more rounds of it, and then of course we've got the rest of the season of JSCC to come as well. There you can see we've rounded off Brands Hatch Indy. We go to Cadwell in a week's time, Castle Combe, followed by another very, very fast and flowing circuit in Thruxton after the Christmas break. Snetterton 300, Anglesey, Alton Park, then back to Brands Indy for the final round. And like I said during race 2, if round 1 gave us that many fireworks, if the championship is alive, which I'm hoping it inevitably will be in 7 weeks, more than 7 weeks, 7 rounds time, we're in for a treat.
We absolutely are indeed. So there's so much to look forward to. Thank you to everybody that watched along at home, and of course thank you to yourself, Zach, for keeping us all informed. Thank you to Tom in the background that brings you the beautiful pictures that we've seen all night long. Mick that does a lot of work behind the scenes at Perfect Acceleration Sim Racing. I don't think I've rang him and he doesn't sound busy. Mick is super busy, with the help, of course, with Tom and everybody else at PASR. And of course, Jordan, who got his outing this evening in the safety car, and all of the sponsors that make PASR what it is today. Zach, any final closing statements?
Is it Castle Combe time yet?
Come back, yeah, come back soon. Great stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody that's been watching along at home, and of course thank you to the drivers that gave us plenty to talk about this evening. We'll see you all at Castle Combe. Bye bye.